Okay, so let's talk about a custom installation solution that is, it's not my preference, but there are times where this makes a lot of sense. And this subwoofer is something that I think, again, I think I'd always choose a big box like a Sub 18S or a Sub 6 or some bigger, SVS subwoofer, or even like a entry level sub, like if you have a Klipsch sub or something like that. I'd always choose that option, but it doesn't always work. For instance, we did these in a wash bay in the big Atlanta garage, and it just wouldn't make sense to have a box sitting on the floor somewhere where water's being sprayed, but it did make sense to put something like this in a wall and help the outdoor speakers out that we had in place, help them with their frequency response a bit and make the system sound better. So this is from Dynaudio. This is designed and engineered in Denmark, and then they make it in China. That's where it's manufactured, and Dynaudio is still very precise, Chinese manufacturing facility. This is a rather expensive option, but this can be used if you're doing like their LCR in-wall systems. Could be a complement to a pair of bookshelves. Could be a complement to LYDs with a Dynaudio node. Could be which are studio monitors. Could be a complement to an on-wall or in-wall setup in general. And it's rated to play down to 16 hertz at a slight roll off, but it's really a 20 hertz and up little in-wall subwoofer. Doesn't require any modification other than you cutting a hole. And so what it is, it's four 3-inch by 6-inch woofers. Obviously the energy is going to transfer this way since there's nowhere else behind it for it to go. It's a sealed enclosure, so these are all active. There's no passive radiator. These are all active drivers. So its effective surface area I think would be similar to like a 10-inch woofer, a 9 or 10-inch woofer, if you were to compare it to like a box regular boxed woofer. But it's a really clean. We did 2 of these in one install. It's a really clean installation as long as you cut it properly. So the way it would go is you would it'll work in 2x4 construction, so it will fit in a normal drywall 2x4 application. 2x6, it really doesn't matter. It's using this enclosure. So this is a sealed package. So it's not using the wall like a traditional in-wall speaker will use the wall as sort of the box. All the energy is contained and being pushed forward or out. So you really won't notice much vibration coming out of the wall. It's balanced really well, the way that they make this thing work, the way it mounts and fixes itself to the drywall, makes it work really well, and doesn't vibrate the room behind it, because this is a metal enclosure. It's a really solid setup. Now the front baffle here may look like metal on camera, but it's a plastic front baffle, and then it's magnetized so that way you can put the grill on the front of it. So if you were installing it, what you would do, you'd pop the template out here, make sure it's nice and square. You'd trace that out, and then cut out your setup. And you have 2 options for your installation. You could actually mount it behind a wall. So if you're doing a ceiling application, a little more complicated, you would simply cut this hole, and I believe what you do, we haven't done this installation, but I believe you would remove this plastic top piece. So you would take this trim piece off if you're going to recess it and mount it inside of a wall, and then they include these brackets that would allow you to fix it to the frame or whatever that you built. So if you're going to fully hide this and recess it, and you're going to use just this covered grill, it does give you that internal template here. But most installations, you're going to cut out the square, and so you're going to cut out around this trim area of the woofer. So it's gonna pressure fit into the enclosure, into the wall. And then the way this works is when you take your Phillips, your screw gun, the clamp will pop out. So I don't know if I can get it to do it here. So this clamp will pop out and then clamp onto your tile, your wall, or whatever you're installing it to. So as you screw down, this will then clamp your drywall. Actually works extremely well. So you make your cut, you take, you push the device or push the subwoofer in place using your Phillips screws. You screw, it'll clamp at all the full four corners. I guess before that you would install your speaker wire. So these are push to connect speaker wire connections. You can pop this little piece out here if you wanted to do banana plugs, which this is a permanent installation. I think you would do bare wire. You just put your bare wire in place, your positive, negative. And so generally speaking, you're going to pre-wire your room. You're going to pre-wire the area. They do not make a pre-wired or a pre-construction trim ring for this that I know of. So I guess you could provide your drywall people this template. But I think generally speaking, just mark where your wire is, or have the wire, coming out of the wall. Don't put a box in because you're going to want to have the wire draped in the wall, and then just cut it after the fact. Just make sure you know where the wire is. You take pictures beforehand so that way you don't cut the wire when you're cutting out your rough in to put the subwoofer. So the grill is a magnetic grill that snaps and holds in place like so. Well, not like so, but like that. And so that's what the speaker looks like. This is paintable, so you could paint this. I don't know that I've ever seen anybody paint these things, but you could. They always talk about how that's a big selling point, that you could paint the subwoofer grill, but I think you'd skip that. And so then you get some extra bass in a nice clean install. It costs you a lot of money to do this, but you're getting some extra bottom end that you otherwise may not have been able to get with a pair of bookshelves or studio monitors or something like that. So let's set this aside so we can talk about how you're going to power this darn thing. So I would suggest if you're going to do these, I would do 2 of them or more, but 2 of them should suffice. But if you were going to do one, you would do the Audio Control RS5000. So Dynaudio has a partnership with Audio Control. Audio Control makes the subwoofer amplifiers for them. They come. It looks just like this. Here's the example with the rack mount. A lot of times when you're doing these systems, you're going to have a rack and you're going to install it, and you're going to have your equipment installed that way. Here's what it looks like if you didn't do the rack mount. If you just did a regular shelf mount, or just sit it on a shelf somewhere. But the only real difference here, this is a 500 watt amplifier. This is a 1000 watt amplifier. The 500 is for 1 subwoofer, the 1000 is for 2. And if you look at the back, pretty simple. The top one has 2 binding or a left and right binding post, and then the other one has a pair of binding posts for your subwoofer connectivity. So the way that these work, it's a little bit clunky. Again, these are really designed for custom installed applications. It works pretty simply, but you do need to have a little bit of ability to connect connect an Ethernet cable to your Mac or your PC. Download the software from Audio Control, and then you can control and fully tune and calibrate your subwoofer. You can set phase, you can set output, and generally speaking with these, you're not going to adjust them, especially in a custom install application. So you're going to set it and forget it. Once you tune it and set it, you're going to want to either you need to be a tinkerer, or you need to hire somebody to do that for you. If you buy this, really anybody who can use a laptop can figure this out. Really quite simple, where they connect to the network connection here. I believe the other option, I haven't done this because I've always just connected directly to this. Another option is you could connect to your network, just run a network cable to it, and then you could log into like a DNS server or something like that. You'll be able to connect to. It gives you like the IP address in the manual, where you can log directly into via your network, and then that way, if you ever needed to tune the system or adjust it in the future, you could. But these are extremely capable and extremely high output amplifiers. They're technically rated more horsepower, more more wattage than the subwoofers technically are rated to handle, but these are really built and married specifically for that subwoofer, and so. I know that Dynaudio and Audio Control have had a great relationship for a number of years in order to sort of solve this problem for their custom install stuff. So these, again, you wouldn't need both of these. You pick one or the other depending on how many subs you're going to do. Really simple formula. RS1000 if you have 2 subs. RS500 if you're going to have 1 sub. You're going to tune it via network connection and you're good to go. So this is where you hit up our design team. Kyle will sell most of these for us. So you hit up design at obsessedgarage.com and we can sort of put together your custom installation, your custom install solution. We have all Dynaudio as well as PSB in-wall speakers and in-ceiling speakers. That's where this stuff comes in handy. Or like in the Atlantic garage, I did a pair of outdoor speakers and then a pair or 2 in-wall subwoofers to take care of the wash bay, and it was a pretty neat system. Sounded really nice. So again, preference: get a regular subwoofer, cost less, sounds better. This is a nice alternative when you're kind of pigeonholed or you have an area where you need to hide the thing. So that's the Sub RCC. I stock a couple of these generally. If we didn't have one in stock, we very easily get them from Dynaudio. We can ship them right to you. But generally I have a couple of these in stock. We usually, for most of the installs of this thing, we're going to know ahead of time that you need it. And I think it's pretty cool. It's something that warrants being available to us because we're going to be doing a lot of really cool high-end custom garages. So thanks for your support. Go to obsessedgarage.com. Hit us up if you need any advice on your audio stuff. My email is matt@obsessedgarage.com if you have some questions. And yeah, appreciate you. And I'll see you on the next audio video. This stuff is a lot of fun. See you soon.